Good morning, my friends. We've got snow. Alright guys, so what we're going to do today is we're going to go out and we're going to look for the filming locations of 1984's Amadeus. Wish us luck. Alright, we're going to hit the train first thing today. And first stop will be, well, kind of the beginning of the movie. So first off, Amadeus is actually set in Vienna, not Prague, but they did film it here in Prague. Huh. Salieri is the composer, or the court composer, of the Emperor of Vienna. And the Emperor of Vienna invites Mozart to come do a performance in Vienna. Now, Salieri's backstory is that when he was younger, he prayed to God to make him a phenomenal composer, make him the best there ever was, and in return he would be eternally faithful and dedicate everything he had to God. Once he sees Mozart, he sees this cocky, goofing off, hedonistic composer, and that he's really, really good. He realizes that he feels like he was duped, that God gave that talent to someone else, and so his jealousy is basically the basis of this movie. And the movie starts with Salieri trying to commit suicide, and we're gonna go now where he made that attempt. Now, they did build some sets for this movie, but very little. As I understand, there were only like 6 or 7 sets built. Everything else was filmed inside Prague or Czechoslovakia, or a palace in Czechoslovakia. I'm just trying to give you a little ambiance and put you in the mindset of Amadeus right now. So inside this building was where they filmed Salieri's house, where he tries to commit suicide, and his 2 servants end up finding him, and then they carry him through the streets. Let's go in and see if we can see anything. You can see some of the stairs and some of the things inside through a window. It's actually closed today.
Mozart! Forgive your assassin!
And the reason he ends up killing himself or trying to commit suicide is because his overwhelming guilt of what he did to Mozart. The reason that Salieri has so much guilt for Mozart's death is because he basically works him to death. He concocts this plan to, basically at one point in the movie, Amadeus's father, Leopold, comes to visit. They take him to a masquerade party, and he ends up leaving, basically hates the lifestyle that Amadeus is living. Salieri gets that same mask after Leopold dies, that mask that he was wearing at the masquerade, and comes to Amadeus and commissions an opera. And just the fact that Amadeus has no money during this time, and is forced to take on so much work and get it done in such a fast amount of time, and it would actually be Requiem that he commissions, that's what ends up killing Amadeus. Very appropriately, we're passing by the Palace of Beethoven. Alright, now we're gonna head down here. I'm gonna show you where they carried Salieri's body through the streets when he made that suicide attempt. Wow, this is pretty incredible. Right what we were looking for too, because right down this street is where they carry Salieri's body after he's tried to commit suicide. What ends up happening after this is they take him to an institution. Like they go to lock him up, like a sanitarium, and a priest there tells him to confess and clear his conscience, and that's when he starts telling the entire story of Amadeus. But it's through these streets right here that they carry him. Now we're gonna head off to where Mozart was trying on all those extravagant wigs. So this will actually be like a walking tour of the Amadeus locations. Our next one is right there, where those red doors are. Right inside there is where that scene where Mozart, Amadeus, is trying on all those wigs and he keeps giggling. There's like 3 guys putting the wigs on him, and they're powdering his face and all this stuff, and one of the wigs is like white, one of them, actually like 2 of them are pink, and that's when he makes that funny comment when they're like, oh, they look so nice on you, and he said, oh, they're all so beautiful, I can't choose, I wish I had 3 heads.
Why don't I have 3 heads? This is funny.
And the way you can tell that this is where they filmed it is because outside that window you can actually see these windows. You can match up those exact, this right here. You can kind of see passerbys and everything outside. And by the way, where they filmed that scene where he's trying on the wigs, that's actually the Embassy of Denmark here in Prague. Now our next stop is called Wallenstein Gardens. Well, that bird's got the idea. Stay out of the snow, my friend. So some of the things that Salieri tries to do to sabotage Mozart is he, for one, hires a woman to be a maid at Mozart's house, and she's kind of an undercover spy, and she finds out that he's writing a an opera, the one about Figaro, that was banned by the Emperor of Vienna. And so when she tells Salieri, Salieri tells the Emperor, and Amadeus has to go and try to explain himself, and he ends up actually getting the Emperor to allow him to do it. Another thing he does is when the Emperor of Vienna wants to hire Mozart to teach his daughter music, Salieri intervenes and basically says he's a heathen and gets that job taken away from Mozart when he really needed the money. So we've arrived, but the police just told me that this is actually closed during the winter, so I'm gonna see if I can find front entrance and see if I can show you anything. Well, unfortunately my magic didn't work this time. I tried to talk to people here and nobody would let me go look at the garden, so I'm gonna post a picture right here of what the gardens look like, and also a little clip of him performing the concert and what he's doing. It's the open air concert. It was filmed here for the Pope, and that whole spectacle of him playing the piano and everything right in front of the stairs. So just for your info, it's closed during the winter. Well, we tried. That's all you can do. I think I probably could have talked somebody into walking me in there, but this happened to be a day where nobody was working. The only person literally on the grounds was one security officer, so not much he could do. All right, let's move along. Oh, look. Statue of Churchill. That didn't make it in the movie. All right, we're pretty close to our next stop. Dog bar. Well, here we're actually passing the castle here. And here's our guard. Very cool. All right, we're in Old Town now and we have found our location. This is where Amadeus and Constance live in the movie. This is where we see people coming to visit them. We see both of those big doors open and people are carrying Mozart out. They also bring the horse and carriage out through this way. With him and Constance, and they end up going down the street. I can't believe I'm here. This is so cool to see where Mozart's apartment was in Amadeus. I love this movie, so I'm super excited. And I love that it's snowing. I don't particularly care for the fact that I have to be out in the snow, but for this filming location, I kind of enjoy it being snowy. Oh, and I just noticed, in the movie, there's a different coat of arms up top. It's actually kind of like a sunburst instead of that. But this is relatively unchanged. You see those windows, you see her standing by the window right here. I mean this, yeah, they did not change this whatsoever, except for that. All right, now off to the totally opposite side of town for our next location. That's incredible. I love that. So I had to decide whether I was gonna vlog Amadeus today or the Royal Palace and all that stuff. So I opted for Amadeus, obviously, but it's kind of cool because we're gonna end up getting to see a little bit of the palace and stuff anyway, so. I think it was a really wise choice too, because there's about 8 billion tourists out here in tour groups trying to get into the palace today, so that would have been a nightmare. And just putting a few non-Amadeus things in there as well. From here you can see Petrin Tower up there. We were there on this trip if you want to go watch that vlog. Alright, we gotta take this guy to our next stop. Dang, look at that church. That's incredible. Babies everywhere. We have arrived at our next stop. The Church of St. Giles. Let's go look. Now in here is where Amadeus and Constance are married. Basically against Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart's father's wishes. They would have been married right up there at that altar. And because of this gate, you can't get any further, but that's where it happened. And these are off to the sides. Now just 2 more stops on our tour today. Oh yeah, take a look at that beautiful theater, because that's our next location. This was the Vienna Opera House in the movie. This is actually the Estates Theater here. This is where they had all 3 of the opera performances that we see in the movie, Don Giovanni, The Marriage of Figaro, and I forget what the other one's called, but all 3 of them are actually filmed inside here. See if we can get inside. And how appropriate you can buy tickets to enjoy Mozart here on New Year's Eve. And it's very fitting that they would choose to do it here, because this is where Don Giovanni was performed. And I actually took us in a previous vlog while we were here to where the estate was that he finished writing Don Giovanni, which was about the death of his father, Leopold. And I don't know if it's a thing or not, but you notice right here on the hands and on the feet, they're kind of tarnished. It usually means people rub it for luck. I don't know if that's a thing here or not though. Well, unfortunately, even if I offered to pay for a ticket, they won't let me go in and take a picture of the theater because there's a performance going on. Then they said you can take a picture if you buy a ticket. Then when I went to the counter, they're sold out of tickets. So unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to show you guys the inside of the theater, so. I'm sorry guys, it really sucks when the people that work here are like that, but you know, it would have been no problem for them just to walk me to the side, let me take a quick photo. It's pretty sad because as friendly as every single place and person has been in Prague, that place was awful. What happened to his foot? We're missing one. Our next stop that we're heading to is our sad end. We are almost there. Here's the larger view of our last heartbreaking scene in the movie. I'll get a little closer and show you exactly where how they film it. This is called Leopold's Gate, ironically or coincidentally. So this is pretty much the shot we see once Wolfgang has died in his bed, and we see the pallbearers carrying his casket out. They put it in the horse carriage, and then we see the horse and carriage come out this gate at the end to take him to his pauper's grave. They cheat the ending a little bit because the next shot you see is kind of like turned around like this, and you see just a row of trees and it's fogged out and everything. And actually, maybe they did do that here and they just fogged out this section so hard and this section so hard that you couldn't see it and you could just see the trees, but I'm not so sure. But this is definitely where the ending scene was. And then of course we know they take Mozart to his grave, and then they don't put the box in the dirt. This was the first movie I ever saw when I was a kid where I was like, what the heck are they doing? They actually dumped his body into the ground. No box. So this is an absolutely fantastic movie. If you've never seen it, go watch it. It was originally a stage play that the playwright actually converted into a movie script. Milos Forman directed it. It was starring F. Murray Abraham as Salieri, and Mozart, Amadeus, was played by Tom Hulce. Great movie, absolutely great movie. Really sad too. If you don't know anything about Mozart, this is a good starting point, and you'll probably want to go listen to his music afterward. So I think this is probably as good a place as any to end our Amadeus day of vlogging. Thank you all for watching. I have a few shout outs to make. I want to thank Mary Nixon, Rosalie Allen, Peter Angelopoulos, Jeffrey Kidd, Kaleo Yamain, and Pamela Wilder for all making contributions to my channel. I hope you all enjoyed getting to see a little bit more of Prague. And since I have a predominantly entertainment style channel, you know, it just made sense if we were coming here to Prague to do a filming location. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a great night. We'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.